بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So when we are attending madrasa, in the initial years it is Arabic, but inshallah in the nasiha sessions, and then also in the hadith sessions, in the Quran sessions, in the fiqh sessions, our goal is to be able to gain an understanding of religion, understanding what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, understanding how we behave, how we deal with ourselves. And this is called fiqh, not in terms of the modern standard of fiqh meaning masla masail, but fiqh means the tafaqquh, understanding of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us, how we should behave. Now one problem that we face is what we call jahl murakkab, that we think we know what we don't know. We think that we know we don't know. Well, to understand deen is very simple, but sometimes certain masail you need a bit of understanding. You just can't read one masala, read one hadith, read one Quran ayah and jump to a conclusion. You have to, when you're analyzing ijtihad and trying to understand something, it takes a lot of understanding. You have to know a lot of masail. Do you understand? And if not, then this can become very dangerous. I was talking to one brother a couple of months ago, and he was saying, sometimes people, because even myself, I was in a scenario, and sometimes we just use a Quranic verse or a hadith, we don't understand the implications of this. And he was saying, for example, it goes that some people use the verse, that's the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, that he left his family in the desert, in Makkah Mukarramah, on the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he left. Yes? So people trying to use this as an example that we can also do such a thing. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can just, is there Ibrahim alayhi salatu, then why can't we do it? Not understanding then is a hukam, sometimes a khusus, it's particular for a particular person, it's not not for everybody, it's not general. There's context behind of it, circumstances behind of it, conditions for something. Do you understand? So when we have the A'immah, everybody follows the Quran and the Hadith. But it's the understanding of the Quran and the Hadith, the deduction from the Quran and the Hadith. And today we read a story, Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, very beautiful story. He said a person came to Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, and he said, my father is telling me I divorce my wife. Yes? My father is telling me, divorce my wife. What should I do? He said, don't divorce your wife. Ahmad rahmatullah is saying, don't divorce your wife. Your father is saying, divorce your wife. My father is telling me, divorce my wife. So Imam Ahmad said, don't do this. So then the person said, but there's a hadith, there's a story that Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he told his son Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu that divorce your wife. So Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, he went to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said that my father Umar ibn Khattab is telling me that I don't know what he can see, what's his reasons, but he's telling me I need to divorce my wife. So Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was telling his son Abdullah that you divorce your wife. Whatever reasons, obviously it's much more detail, not just randomly divorce your wife. There's a whole lot more information going on behind of this. And Abdullah ibn Umar said, I didn't want to, I like my wife. But it was things that Umar radiyallahu could see and foresight, and he was giving this advice. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said what? Follow your father and divorce your wife. But Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, who's known for being he loves the hadith so much, he said to that person who took advice from him, don't divorce your wife. She said, what about this hadith? He said, when your father becomes like Umar, then follow your father. When your father becomes like Umar radiyallahu anhu, then you listen to your father. Meaning you can't just take one hadith and say, and then your parents say do something, maybe that this is not the correct thing to do. So you have to, this is what it's called fiqh fi din, that every story, every hadith has a context, it has a reason, it has circumstances, it has conditions that need to be met. And if you don't understand this, and you don't gain understanding, you make loads of mistakes. You can even justify it, thinking, there's a Quranic verse like this, there's a hadith like this. But the hadith has to be understood. There's a reason. So basically, Imam Ahmad rahmatullah was saying that you're reading the hadith, but you're not reading a story behind of this. You don't know the reason behind of this. The reason Umar radiyallahu anhu was telling him, that Umar radiyallahu anhu, a very wise person, he had great insight. He could see something which his son could not see. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam agreed with Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that we look at your circumstances, and this is the best option, whatever the situation was. Because talaq itself is abghadul halal. It's the most disliked halal thing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Halal, permissible, but it's very disliked. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Umar radiyallahu anhu, if their insight and what they could see, what the younger Abdullah couldn't see, they gave the mashura, this is better for you. Now you come and say the same hadith without understanding context, scenario, situation, it's not always the same. So Imam Ahmad rahmatullah alayhi, who was very well known for following the hadith, and wherever possible he would follow the literal hadith, he said, no, not this situation, because your father doesn't have the same insight and the same understanding that Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has. Do you understand? So what we learn from this is that we need to gain tafaqquh. And tafaqquh is not just reading a story, not reading a hadith, not reading Quran ayah, but is able to read it, understand it, able to understand how to deal with this, how it fits in the whole bigger picture. This is when you call understanding of deen. So this is why you study with depth, study with knowledge, study with insight, and also this comes with not only from the text, it also comes with reading other books, asking questions, sitting in the durus, sitting in the lectures, and slowly, inshallah, what happens after that, then a person gains understanding. But if a person just very superficially starts reading stuff, very dangerous. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tafaqquh and fiqh and understanding of deen and able to practice religion. And sometimes you don't even have to study in Arabic. Some people may not know Arabic, but they've read so much correct books in a structured way, sat in the company of ulama for so long, that they can just tell without knowing Arabic, without reading the exact words of the Quran or the exact hadith, that you need to do this, you need to do this. So ilm and knowledge is not simply memorizing. It's very important to memorize certain stuff, but it's then how you deal with this, how you understand this, how you implement it into your life, and how it fits in a bigger picture. May Allah give us tawfiq. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.